It's Rampart Rants, that guy who rants. He will make you shit your pants. Hello. This is the second episode of Rampart Rants, as was heavily requested by some unknown people. And first thing we want to address is some feedback we had from the first episode. Now, the first episode was heavily based around Scooby-Doo lore. It turns out this is not a profitable venture, and so this time it's a little more different. It's got an itinerary. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 8 topics, and I'm just going to blast through them all, and hopefully it gets me up to half an hour when the Domino's pizza will be promptly arriving. So, without further ado, we go on to our first topic, which is, sorry, I'm drinking, 2019. Ooh. Now, I'm sure everyone is much enjoying the new year, as they should be, but it will likely be very, very shit. But I'm sure everything will be sorted. Maybe. Yeah. You know, there's not much to say, other than the fact that it can only get worse. Second topic, Newcastle United. Now, since 2007, when Freddie Shepherd was ill, I can't remember his name, but second in command took over for briefly and sold the club to Mike Ashley behind his back. Since then, Newcastle has gone from being a regular Champions League club to being a shite club that just barely continues to exist at the Premier League level. We've been relegated twice because that fat cunt won't invest in a manager or any players or anything at all, not even the training ground or the stadium, unless it's putting new fucking Sports Direct signs up. What a little bastard. And our transfer budget has been reduced to apparently minus 20 million so that he can buy his House of Fraser bollocks. He has, and this year we've got the usual cycle of maybe someone's going to buy us, which is generally considered to be absolute bollocks, because every year there's the same story that he'll just sort of get someone to talk about it, but it's not a serious deal. And even if they give a serious offer, last year they had Amanda Staveley try and buy the club, and she offered him £50 million than his asking price. Now his asking price is heavily inflated because he wants to get, because he hasn't given the club a cent of money of his. He's given him interest-free loans, and so he wants all that paid off and more. So it's a very unreasonable price to be asking for the club, especially because it hasn't got any equity in players. You're not buying any decent players by buying Newcastle. You just have the buildings and the club. Maybe 10 years ago you would have some good players in there. I mean, just look at Jorginho Wijnaldum is now in Liverpool, who seem to be going to win the Premier League. But Newcastle is stuck with our best player is our goalkeeper, who we got from Sparta Praga. It was 3.5 million, and our record signing was 10 years ago, and it was Michael Owen, and it was 16 million pounds. Since then, every single club, even some clubs in the league below us in the Championship, have spent more on players than we have. What a pile of shit. But now we had this guy called Paul Kenyon come along and say, oh yeah, maybe I'll buy him. And he's gone in with an offer £100 million lower. Oh, I forgot to mention, Amanda Staveley, when she offered that £50 million lower, was told quite literally to fuck off by Mike Ashley. He didn't give him a counter offer. Didn't say, oh yeah, well, meet you in the middle, 25 million, blah blah blah. No, just fuck off. Because he got what he needed. Because there was meant to be protests at the ground at the Wolves game that was recently, but that was completely fucking cancelled because they were like, oh no, we can't upset the owner. No, we can't do that. Because otherwise, who wants to buy a club which are having protests? That would be bad. So they cancelled the protests that were designed to get Mike Ashley out. And suddenly, as soon as that happened, all news regarding the supposed takeover of the club just disappeared. Fat, fucking, miserable, cockney bastard cunt. And so is his dad. Next topic. So, we're going to talk about Brexit. I'm sure every single person on the planet has talked about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. Well, not every person on the planet, no one gives a shit outside of the UK, but, fucked. Just fucked. Get fucked. All of you. You're fucked. No one wants to solve the problem either way. I mean, we should leave, but it's fucked. And Theresa May's a nonce. That's all there is to say. Now, pending that the United Kingdom is going to, well, it can either become fantastic to live in, which I doubt, or it'll just become as shit as it was, or shitter than it's going. I'm just going to talk about, this is more of a discussion than a rant. It could be, places to live on the planet, Where would I like to live? I've heard from multiple people that Tokyo and Japan in general is just the dog's bollocks. And I know it's a pain going there because you can't really, if you live there, you've got to have a job and a visa because you can't really get citizenship to stay there unless you renounce your citizenship of where you're from. So, if I was going to be living there to be a citizen, I'd have to say I'm British, and then you can only do that once. You can renounce your citizenship and then get it back, but then you can't renounce it again. Or you can renounce it again, but then it's gone forever then. So it's a pain in the ass that, but would I want to come back here? I still have lots of family here, but would that be would I would come here any more than 30 or the 90-day visa? It's possible. Also, I don't speak Japanese, and I don't know. I feel like someone would try and visit me just to plow Asian women all the time. So it has its ups and downs, but it could be a top lad country, and that's also destroying itself by massive population decline, which I can help with, so long as there's some sort of breed. Agreement. Bear with me 1 second. Sorry. Ambient noise. Anyhow, other options. Switzerland, lovely place. Sunny some places, skiing some places, very neutral. Politically, it has lots of referendums. It seems a pretty fair place to be. Home of Roger Federer, tennis, lots of tennis courts. Stan Wawrinka, opposite problem is that it's still sort of European Union-y, but it's not quite in there. But it's still, a big draw. And I'd have to visit there before I made a final decision, because it could be just one of those things that you go there and you're like, oh, shy. It's like Waitrose. You go in there and you're like, oh man, this is so much, and you expect it to be like marble floors, and now you're buying the same old shit you're buying in Tesco, it's just spending more. So I could go there and it could just be exactly like Bradford. Who knows? They could just have a really good tourist board. Other country options: New Zealand, English-speaking country. bit like Wales in terms of size and lots of sheep. They film Lord of the Rings there. Those are the basic 3 options. All the other ones are just like, wherever Azealia Banks is, live there. Haha. Anyhow, next topic. What the fuck is happening with Star Trek? Now, I haven't watched all of Star Trek. Far from it. I've watched The Next Generation, the original series, and Deep Space Nine. I haven't watched Enterprise or Voyager, mainly because I tried to, and Enterprise's theme is like the least hype thing. Like you want to go into a program and you want to be like Dragon Ball Z. You want to be like Dragon Ball Z. You want to get your hype. But it's just like a big flaccid shite. Enterprise's theme. It just doesn't set you up for what you want to experience. Like it's just, bleh. And Voyager just like, it's not the show it should be, because you want, they're stuck out in space, for years and years and years. So it'd be like a survival program, and it'd be like the crew gradually gets smaller and smaller, and there's more losses. The ship gets beat up and blasted to pieces, and like they just barely get home, and they're like all like damaged and broken, and they're like, well, we made it, but no, it's not like that at all. It's just like The Next Generation, except slightly different. It's just bollocks. They just ruined the only potential that the show had. It's just, yeah. But it's still Star Trekky. You can put something on. It's not too offensive. But then they have like Star Trek Discovery, which is just like boom, explosion, bang, whatever, bollocks. Just getting in for a completely different show where it's about the action, it's about drama, it's not about anything that the creators envisioned it. It doesn't have to be a Star Trek thing. It could be friggin' Captain Snappy's bollocks cruises. No one is going to know that it's Star Trek from watching the show, because it's a different feel. If you change the names of the organisation or whatever, you just go, it's just a thing. But they're bringing out the new Picard show, which the show is made by basically the same people, so I'm not particularly optimistic for that either, because it's just going to be exactly the same thing where you're going to have and plus they're getting Patrick Stewart to do the blooming he's going to make his suggestions aren't very good, because when he had some sort of creative control over the Star Trek film, he decided that he'd make up like half an hour of the film by just him riding around in a doom buggy having fun. So we could just end up with that kind of stuff where he's not an actual character. It's just like, what's he got on his bucket list that he can persuade people to pay him to do on camera? So not particularly optimistic for that. And then we've got I think we've got some sort of film in limbo with Chris Pine and whatever, and whether or not they can get available for a 4th film of that, which seems to be going nowhere. And then we've got another Star Trek thing, which is friggin' Quentin Tarantino. I can't think of a director more polar opposite idealism to what Star Trek is. Like, all his films just could never be a Star Trek episode from the amount of swearing, which I don't think happens much in Star Trek. I think it happened in the new Star Trek that's shite, but I can't imagine it, and I'm not going to judge it till it comes out, but I can't imagine that it's going to be fantastic. Now we're going to move on to a sort of local topic. This local topic is going to be about the University Union. Now, the Student Union, in all their wisdom, are a corrupt bunch of bastards, from what I gather. I have yet to be able to grasp the full concept of it, but the Student Union, we've had some of the societies I've been member have tried to get multiple speakers to come up to have things hosted by the Student Union, so we can have speaking and stuff like that. And it's quite clear that they have some sort of political bias, because they're happy to bring in some speakers. In fact, you can arrange it in 2 days. You can say, well, I want this speaker on his book to come and do the thing, and say 2 days. And then suddenly, if you get someone who's slightly controversial, even someone who's not even that controversial, even someone like Daniel Hannan or someone like that would have difficulty getting a role to come in and do a talk, because they do not want that kind of political problem. I mean, some people just... So, for instance, we applied to get one of these speakers through. It wasn't Daniel Hannan, but we applied to get one of these speakers through, and they just kept giving us the runabout and saying, well, no, we can't do that, or, oh, yeah, we'll get it sorted tomorrow, we'll get it sorted tomorrow, and weeks and weeks and weeks and months passed of constant communication with them about it, and in that time we managed to submit and have a speaker, submit and arrange a speaker to come down, which was Yaron Brook, to come to the university and do his talk, and that took 2 days. The Student Guild also, lots of people have been petitioning to get rid of the food establishments there and replacing them with the Greggs, because the Greggs will be cheaper on students, because at the moment they have pretty expensive places in Pratt and Costa, so I don't think they're going to, it seems like they're trying to just extort as much money out of the students as they can. People here aren't rich, as far as I know. They're not bad off, but it's just bad times all around. And the amount of different events and stuff at the guild, I mean, the guild's also the guild has gone over budget and invested poorly in things like that, and it's making the students sort of, foot the bill for their poor decision and their corruptness. Anyway, moving on to social media. Oh, actually, I'll do that last, because this comes into the university in general. January exams, right at the fucking start of January. The start. So, for me, it's like you have, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, grandparents' wedding anniversary, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, my birthday, and then 5 days, and then exam. And then, whereas other places, it's just, how can they expect you to work or do any revision when there is so much other things going on? It's not like that's free time like the summer is, where nothing happens in the summer. You genuinely have free time in the summer, or in Easter, because no one has anything planned for Easter. But the Christmas period is quite possibly the most busiest personal period for anyone, and particularly me. Why not have them at the end of January? Why not we come back at this point and then have the exams at the end of January, or just have coursework in for now? But no, the University of Northern Wisdom decides that it'd be best. Is it trying to get you to work under conditions? Is that it? I purely don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Is it trying to test whether you can revise under those conditions? Or is it they're just trying to fuck you over? Or is it just because it's easier for them and they just go, fuck it, do that? It's just bollocks. Absolute tripe. They can fuck off with it. Now we can go to social media. Social media. all bollocks. Facebook, bollocks. Twitter, bollocks. Gab, nonsense. Fucking Bebo, bollocks. MySpace, bollocks. TikTok, nice. Instagram, bollocks. WhatsApp, Chinese. That's all I have to say really on that matter. Mark Zuckerberg's a pedo. A pedo's pedo. Just as James Bond's a man's man, Mark Zuckerberg's a pedo's pedo. And so's his dad. Thank you everyone for listening to Rampart Rants. This stream of consciousness was brought to you by my brain. If you would like more of my brain, get your fucking own. Goodbye.